Good evening and welcome. It's your boy TR X. Did I call it wrong? Anyway, this is the TR News and Reviews, and I am yours truly, TR X, with the news and the reviews for this evening. Now, we're bringing to you today America's most expensive zip code, and we're trying to unlock a world of things that is being hidden from many of us. Now, they have been trying to hide many things from us. There's a reason why the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer because the secret has been hidden. The secret has been hidden. But tonight we are here to expose the hidden secrets, the things that is causing people to get poorer, and then a next set of people is getting richer. We're going to show you the reason. So I want to say the world is becoming a digital place, a digital platform. So before the 20th century, the world was a everything was done by manual labor. Everything was on a slow rising. But today, in this digital world or in a more technological world, technology has increased, and the mind of investors has increased, and the mind of business owners has increased, and so we have a large percentage of things that is being happening on the rise, and it is not noticeable by some people, but some people were, however, noticing what is happening. Now, inside Investor Place, we have one called, what's his name? It's in the description, Mr. Fry. Mr. Eric Fry. We want to say thank you for, giving us this exclusive information. So big shout out to you, Mr. Eric Fry, and your team. Thank you for making this available for us to use and for others to see. So we're talking today about America's most expensive zip code. Now, some of us not even know these places that we're talking about or whatever we're talking about here. It is something that is hidden. You don't even know the place that it exists in America. You don't even know that there is something as America's most expensive zip code. Well, today we are unlocking all of what you needed to know, and we need to equip you so you can better perform in the near future, because if you notice, the world is becoming so digital that even the cars are driving by itself. So we have, like, for instance, Uber and Lyft has taken over the taxi industry. And so taxi services are going down while Uber and Lyft is taking over and going up. Now, that is not the only thing that is going to happen. Not just that Uber and Lyft takes over the taxi system, but the system will become very soon, not long from now, not just that this particular company or group of people has taken over this particular thing, but what will happen is that the world is going to become a place where machines will take over the duties of mankind. So if you don't equip yourself and attach yourself to technology, then you're going to be out of a job soon. Now, the TR News and Reviews, I'm trying to make sure that the people, especially those that are a part of the royal family, make sure that they are equipped and is ready to be a part of the new world order, because it is becoming a cashless society. Our world is becoming a cashless society, a digital platform where people will be working more online than manual labor. So we will have more online. You know what? Let me stop the talking. I've been talking too much. For those who are in, we have just a few people in here just now, only 3 people. And for those of you who can share the stream, please do share the stream. And for those who can like the stream, please drop a like in the stream. We are ready to open. And for those who will watch after this stream, remember to hit that like button. Welcome to the TR News and Reviews, where we bring you updates of events happening around the world. Welcome to the TR News and Reviews Live. Now, as you know, my computer is not working. And so I have to be doing things manually. Everything is crashing down right here in the studios. But we still did not allow that to stop us from getting information to you. So here we are going to jump. I'm using my phone as the next device. So both of my phone now is active to give this presentation. So I'm not able to, manipulate the chat and do those things. So, you have to share the stream for me and let people know that we are rocking and rolling and doing all these wonderful things. Anyway, without further ado, let's welcome brother Eric Fry to take us to the most expensive code of America. America most expensive code, zip code. Let's go into the video. I'm going to turn the camera and we will dive right in video. So it's my phone that is going to do the job. I hope that this phone will do the job good enough for you to see. All right, so there we go. That's Eric Fry, and that's the genius behind what you're about to see. Guys, go and invite as much people as you can. We need people to see this, because this is something that we all need to see. And I want to say all credits goes to Eric Fry. All copyrights go to Eric Fry and his team, of course. His team, of course. His team, of course. So let's jump right into this.
We're about to drive into this exclusive neighborhood behind me. Now, very few Americans know this. This town repeatedly ranks as the most expensive zip code in all of America. Okay, here we go. This house here has 7 bedrooms and sits on a 1-acre lot. It's sold not too long ago for just under $19 million. But it gets even better. The house right next to it, with 5 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms, is listed for sale today for $32 million. It's gone up in price by more than $9 million from when it sold 2 years ago. And it's gone up $20 million from when it sold 5 years ago. The property taxes alone at the old price are a whopping $253,000 per year. And incredibly, that $32 million house I just showed you is not even the most expensive home in the neighborhood. There's another one for sale for more than $40 million. And that's only the beginning of the story. What's fascinating is that this neighborhood is just the tip of the iceberg. Here's what I mean. The third most expensive zip code in America is located less than 5 miles from here. So is the 4th most expensive zip code. That's just a few miles farther. In fact, 7 of the 12 most expensive zip codes in all of America are located right here, within a 20-mile radius. Keep in mind, I'm not in Beverly Hills, not in Manhattan, not in Palm Beach, or any other place you might expect. I'm not near the ocean, not even near a golf course. In fact, if you don't live here, you've probably never even heard about it. So why is it so expensive, filled with so many wealthy people? Well, because this place holds a powerful secret for building and accumulating wealth in America right now. And the average American doesn't have a clue about what's happening. I've used this secret personally to make millions. And I'm going to show you how to take advantage of it too, very soon, and with amazing results. That's why I filmed this expose. You see, I decided to finally put everything I've learned on film, because I've become increasingly frustrated watching the endless debates about the huge and growing wealth gap in America. I'm sure I don't tell you, this is probably the most politicized and contentious topic of the day. Today in America, the gap between the rich and everyone else is bigger than we've seen in roughly 100 years. Never, ever have we seen the wealth gap accelerate like we're seeing today. That's the incredible part. We're here today in Atherton, the richest zip code in America. But a short drive from this wealthy enclave is this school called Castaño Elementary. A news report from not long ago indicates that 63% of the roughly 500 kids that go to this school are homeless. They don't go home to a $6 million house, or any house at all. Instead, they live in trucks and campers along abandoned industrial roads. There are few places in America where the wealth gap is as dramatic as this. $40 million homes not far from $1,000 trailers parked on rugged industrial streets. But again, no one really understands why this is happening. Folks on the left think it's the result of capitalism's failures. They argue for socialist solutions like higher minimum wage, universal basic income, much higher taxes, health care for all, even reparations for slavery. While many folks on the right are equally confused. They say the economy fails to produce widespread prosperity because the government is more obsessed with redistributing wealth than nurturing it. They point to excessive regulation, misguided subsidies, and punitive taxes, which they argue hobbles economic growth. Now look, I'm sorry, but the reality is all of these explanations are absolutely 100% dead wrong. The truth is, none of these issues gets at the real root cause of the huge wealth gap that now exists in America, which is getting bigger and will continue to get bigger every single day. So today I'm going to share with you the real reason why this is all happening. That's why I'm here in Atherton. I'm stepping forward for the first time to share a secret no politician is ever going to explain to you. It's critically important that you get these facts now. Because, as one of my wealthy friends said recently, it's as if a giant drawbridge is dividing our country in half. On one side are the rich, who fully understand what's happening and are taking full advantage of the situation. On the other side, well, that's everyone else. And no matter how hard they work or what they do, they just continue to fall farther and farther behind. This proverbial drawbridge is rising. The gap between the haves and the have-nots is widening. And it's going to widen even more in the coming years. So if you hope to survive and prosper in America in the years to come, you need to understand what's going on, why it's happening, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Today, I'm going to show you 3 specific steps you should take. The truth is, the choice is up to you. You can dramatically grow your wealth in the years to come, or you can risk enormous losses. And although I typically charge a lot of money for this kind of insight and analysis, I work for a billionaire who's one of the richest men in America. Today, I'm going to outline everything for you, totally free of charge. Look, we don't need socialism in America. We don't need 90% wealth taxes or universal basic income. What we need is for more people to have a better understanding of what's happening in our economy so that fewer folks are left behind. I promise you this, the more people understand what's going on, the better for us all. So stick with me for a few minutes and get the facts for yourself. I'll explain the real reason the wealth gap is bigger today than ever before, and also the specific steps you should take immediately. Like I said, my name is Eric Fry, and there's no doubt I'm one of the lucky ones. I grew up in Pasadena, near the Rose Bowl in California. My parents were both hardworking professionals. My dad was a doctor, and my mom was a lawyer. But even from a young age, I had an independent streak. I told my parents I wanted to pay my own way through UCLA, so I worked my butt off at restaurants in West Los Angeles and found the cheapest accommodations possible, including a converted chicken coop, for which I paid just $150 a month. After school, I spent many years in the money centers of the Western world: San Francisco, Manhattan, Monte Carlo, working as a broker, entrepreneur, analyst, and hedge fund manager. Over the years, I've made extraordinary amounts of money and have helped give many others the chance to do the same thing. I've found more than 40 opportunities, for example, where folks could have made 1,000% gains, and nearly 20 other opportunities where folks could have made 500% gains or more. I'll put this track record up against anyone's, on or off Wall Street. Many of my friends and the folks I work with have become multi-millionaires in recent years. But at the same time, I've also seen the homeless population soar near my hometown. Now, I've gotten to know many of these guys on a first-name basis, and their stories are heartbreaking. What's so shocking to me is how institutionalized this has all become. These guys all have food stamps, they all have a cell phone and Medi-Cal, but they're still sleeping in the streets every single night. I've also seen many of my really smart and hardworking friends and family members battle drug addiction, long bouts of unemployment, and crushing debt. It's just shocking to me that today, in the greatest country on earth, nearly 60% of the population does not even have $1,000 in savings. That's the reason why I put together this video. It's the reason I'm in Atherton, a place that repeatedly shows up as the wealthiest zip code in America. You see, right now, we are in the midst of a rare, seminal moment in our nation's history. Some people are going to make enormous amounts of money in the next few years. Others are at risk of losing everything. Believe it or not, you actually have the ability to choose which side you'll be on. Here's what I mean. I'm sure you've noticed in recent years, there's been a tremendous shift taking place in every sector of our economy. You've certainly seen the evidence firsthand. Amazon has taken over retail. Uber has taken over cabs. Apple and Spotify have taken over music. Netflix has taken over movies and television. Google has taken over data. LinkedIn and others have taken over job search and hiring. Expedia and TripAdvisor have taken over the travel industry. The list goes on and on. What's happening, in short, is that we are in the middle of moving from a paper-based analog world to a digital, computer-powered society. For some, the transition has been devastating. Blockbuster, for example, was doing $6 billion in annual revenue in 2004, but by 2010, they declared bankruptcy. Look at this incredible chart. And remember taxi cabs? That industry was devastated by Uber. Look at this chart that shows how the value of owning a taxi medallion in Manhattan has plummeted. As Amazon and others have moved so much of our shopping online, traditional retail operations are being devastated one after the other. In 2019 alone, an estimated 12,000 retail stores closed. You've probably heard about the closures at Sears, JCPenney, Kmart, Best Buy, and Macy's. But there are many more. 390 Family Dollar stores were set to close in 2019. 650 Dress Barn stores are set to close over the same period. 2,100 Payless Shoe Source stores will also close. The Gap, it's also shutting down stores, 230 of them. Walgreens is shutting down 200 stores, and even Walmart is shutting down 17 stores. Tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs as a result. Investment bank UBS estimates that another 75,000 retail stores across America could be lost by 2026. Meanwhile, the money that's been made by those who have capitalized on this trend has been remarkable. Jeff Bezos of Amazon is now richer than Warren Buffett. The cloud computing kings at Salesforce just built the tallest building west of the Mississippi. Facebook shareholders have enjoyed a roughly 1,000% return on their investment since mid-2012, while Tesla investors have made over 1,100% over approximately the same time. Early Google investors are up more than 25 times their original investment. And in the past 3 years alone, more than 120 technology companies have soared by 100% or more. There's a secret behind all of this, which very few Americans understand. When you learn this secret, you'll see why what has happened in recent years is nothing compared to what's coming next. The destruction of certain industries is only going to get worse, much worse, while the money being made by a select few is only going to be more dramatic. Some folks, and my hope is that you will be among them, are going to make more money more quickly than ever before. The wealth gap is only going to get bigger, much, much bigger. Here's why. What only a small percentage of the American population understands is that the key ingredients of our modern, digitized, and computerized world are exploding in power and speed. This is changing our world at ever-increasing rates and in ways most people can't even comprehend right now. And it all boils down to something called the law of accelerated returns. The term was first coined by Ray Kurzweil, the most famous futurist and tech expert in America. Kurzweil worked as the director of engineering at Google and won our country's top technology award, the National Medal of Technology and Innovation. Time magazine named Kurzweil one of the 16 revolutionaries who made America. Inc. magazine called him Edison's rightful heir. The concept behind the law of accelerated returns is a bit complex, but it's worth taking a few minutes to understand, because this simple concept explains why some companies are growing so quickly and making so much money so fast, compared to how long it took years ago. Explains why so many well-known companies will collapse and even go bankrupt in the next few years. Explains why the wealth gap in America is so big, why it's getting bigger, and why it will get even bigger still in the years to come. And most importantly, this simple concept provides you with a roadmap for how you can make a lot of money and avoid major losses in the very near future. Here's how it works. As Kurzweil explains, technology does not progress in a linear, step-by-step manner. Instead, the speed of progress and the speed at which people adopt new technologies actually accelerates dramatically over the years. In other words, technology progresses exponentially. I know that's a little bit confusing, so let me show you an example. You've probably heard of Moore's Law. It's an observation made in the late 1960s by Gordon Moore, the founder of Intel. Moore said the number of transistors we could fit on a microchip would double every 2 years, which would rapidly boost computer power. Few people believe Moore, but he was exactly right. Now, here's the critical point you must understand. Looking at this curve, you can see how the rate of technological progress actually gets faster every year. Think about it this way. Imagine if in year 1, you could put just 1 transistor on a chip. Then in year 3, you could put 2 transistors on a chip. And in year 5, you could fit 4 transistors on a chip. Remember, because of technological advances, we're able to double the number of transistors on a chip every 2 years. So if you do the math, here's what the data looks like. Do you see the dramatic effect of exponential growth? Between years 1 and 3, a 2-year stretch, the rate of progress added just 1 transistor per chip. But between years 28 and 30, also a 2-year stretch, the number of chips increased by 8,192. In other words, if it feels like technology is changing and advancing faster than ever, you're right, it is, and in a dramatic way. When you draw a chart of exponential growth, the curve gets steeper and steeper. The rate of progress actually speeds up. Some call it an S-curve because it looks like this. Here's a great example of what exponential gains and the law of accelerated returns looks like in the real world. In the year 2000, it cost $50 million to buy a computer that could perform 1 trillion operations per second. By 2016, you could buy a computer that performed 8 times that many operations per second for just $600. That's over a million times improvement in just 16 years. And remember, these technologies improve exponentially. So in just a few years, today's computing power and technologies will look completely antiquated. Also, it's not just recent technologies that progress exponentially, it's all human technology and innovation throughout recorded time. As Kurzweil says, the first technological steps in human history were sharp edges, fire, the wheel, things like that. But these things took tens of thousands of years to develop. For people living in those ancient eras, there was little noticeable change. But by 1000 AD, technological progress was much faster. A technological paradigm shift required only a century or two. By the start of the 1800s, we saw more technological advances over the next century than in the 9 centuries that preceded it. Today, technological paradigm shifts occur every few years, and the overall rate of progress is doubling approximately every decade. Think about it this way. In the 21st century, we will see almost 1,000 times the technological advances we saw in the previous century. The thing is, it's really hard for us as humans, going about our daily lives, to grasp how fast these advances are occurring in the real world. We simply aren't able to recognize and comprehend what is happening. Think about the internet. When it first went from 20,000 nodes, which are the building blocks of the internet, to 80,000 nodes over a 2-year period in the 1980s, nobody noticed. But a decade later, when it went from 20 million nodes to 80 million nodes, it became front page news. Look at this chart. You can see here how the internet adoption rate accelerated exponentially. What's interesting is that it's not just the actual technology that increases exponentially in speed, power, and sophistication, but also the adoption of technology that increases exponentially too. In other words, the rate at which people begin using new technologies increases exponentially too. Look at this chart. The adoption of new technologies always increases much faster than even the experts predict. If you find that hard to believe, don't worry. So do most of the world's so-called experts. Consider this remarkable story. In 1985, AT&T was the world's biggest and most powerful telephone company. They hired the smart folks at McKinsey, the world's leading consulting firm, to predict the adoption rate of a new technology called the cell phone. Well, the folks at McKinsey said AT&T would have 900,000 cell phone customers by the year 2000. But guess what? They were off by more than 100-fold. The actual number was 109 million cell phone customers. The point is, even the experts have a very hard time anticipating how quickly new technologies will be adopted and change our society. Like I said, if it feels like technology is changing and advancing faster than ever, you're right, it is. and it's only going to get faster. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. What does all this have to do with me? The answer is simple. The exponential increase in the progress and adoption of new technologies, known as the law of accelerated returns, is causing two massive changes in our society. First, it means that today it takes less time than ever before to generate massive wealth. Over the last few decades, for example, it took on average about 20 years for the typical Fortune 500 company to reach a market capitalization of $1 billion. But then, in 1998, Google reached a $1 billion market value in just 8 years. That was considered incredible and nearly impossible at the time. But this rate of growth and mass adoption is accelerating. By 2004, Facebook became a billion-dollar company in just 5 years. Then, in 2009, Uber became a billion-dollar company in just 3 years. And in 2012, virtual reality firm Oculus did it in under 2 years. As you can see, it's taking less and less time to generate incredible wealth, in large part because of the laws of acceleration. And investors are enjoying the benefits. Like I said, in just the past 3 years, more than 120 technology companies have returned 100% gains or more to investors. So the time it takes for people to accumulate massive wealth is getting compressed. New companies and new technologies can scale faster than ever before, making some people rich more quickly than ever before. Did you know, for example, that Barron's estimates the number of millionaires created by Bitcoin, the internet's new type of digital money, is somewhere between 20,000 and 200,000. And it all happened in just a few short years. Uber started out in an apartment in 2009, not too far away from where I am today. And within just 7 years, they were booking more rides than the entire US taxi industry combined. Think about that. The whole thing happened in just 7 years, starting in an apartment building. Never before in human history has a technology created more wealth more quickly than this. But there's a flip side to this equation. Increasing technological power and adoption also means companies can collapse faster than ever also. As Apple's iPhone became the dominant smartphone on the market, the losing competitor, BlackBerry, saw its share price plummet more than 90% in a very short period of time. Remember, I said the law of accelerated returns causes two critical changes in our society. First, it enables companies to grow more quickly than ever before, but it also explains what is becoming a huge problem in our society. 2020 presidential hopeful Andrew Yang made headlines when he pointed out the top 1% of the US population has accrued 52% of the real income growth in America since 2009. But why is this happening? The answer is simple and obvious to anyone who understands what we've been talking about. Today, the acceleration of our technological progress allows companies to operate with just a fraction of the employees that businesses used to require. In other words, wealth is being concentrated into fewer and fewer hands. Just consider these incredible numbers. Back in 1964, AT&T had more than 750,000 employees. But in 2017, Google was a bigger and far richer company than AT&T, with 92% fewer employees sharing the wealth. Or look at the old school company Hilton Hotels. It has about 170,000 employees, which helped generate about $9 billion in revenue last year. That's about $53,000 per employee. But I estimate that tech upstart Airbnb generates 5 times more money per employee than Hilton. Soon, Airbnb will be making more money than Hilton Hotels, but will most likely do it with about a 90% reduction in labor. In 2012, IBM had more than 400,000 employees. But today, Microsoft has 1/3 that number of employees and makes about $50 billion more per year. Plus, people who invested in Microsoft back in 2000 made about 10 times more in gains than those who invested in IBM. Back in 1989, Kodak had about 145,000 employees. Today, Snapchat has just 1,800 employees. You get the point. The best new companies of today simply don't need many people compared to companies from a decade or two ago. So the number of great jobs is decreasing, while the pay for those employees who do get jobs is radically soaring. This is why the wealth gap gets wider and wider every single year. This is why the town of Atherton, which is located in the heart of America's technology hub, Silicon Valley, is the most expensive zip code in the nation. It's become an exclusive enclave for folks who have made vast fortunes in the technology space. Again, businesses are making money faster than ever, and it's being concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. And it's happening everywhere, in every industry, even in boring industries like banking. You've probably never heard of a company called Annaly. It has just 170 employees and has used innovative technologies in modern finance to generate about $13 million in revenue per employee. That means Annaly generates about 25 times as much money per employee as Bank of America. But again, most Americans are completely missing out on how this is all unfolding. This is why I'm in what often tops the list of the wealthiest zip codes in America, 94027, located near the heart of America's technological center in Silicon Valley. I'm going to make sure you are on the right side of this trend. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. One of the most important things you have to remember about the law of accelerating returns and the growing wealth gap is that disruptions always happen from the outside. What I mean by that is it's never the big established companies that disrupt entire industries and make people rich in a very short amount of time. Neither Motorola nor Nokia developed the smartphone, but they could have. Netflix wasn't invented by Blockbuster, but it could have been. Amazon wasn't invented by Barnes & Noble. TV networks did not come up with YouTube. Visa didn't create PayPal, and hotel chains did not come up with Airbnb. Again, it's always the small, outsider companies that disrupt the status quo and make a small group of investors rich. You simply must learn how to get in on these ideas and the companies that are shaking up entire industries if you want to capture the biggest gains in the market today. I can show you literally dozens of examples of how this is playing out in the real world. For example, have you heard of a company called Paycom? It automates a lot of human resource tasks for other companies, like recruiting, payroll, etc. It eliminates HR jobs, cuts costs, and is making people rich. The company's revenue went up nearly 300% between 2014 and 2018, and investors made more than 1,000% on that stock between roughly 2016 and today. Or how about a company called PaySign? It helps companies and even government agencies process payments quickly and easily. Since 2016, the company has been growing annual revenue by more than 50% each year, and investors have made more than 4,000% gains since the start 2016. Oh, and get this, the company has just 64 employees. Again, these companies grow faster than ever before, and because of technological advances, they don't need many employees to do it. This is why disruptive tech firms are transforming entire industries practically overnight and making investors rich. A company called Trade Desk automates how companies place ads online. It's up more than 1,200% in the past 3 years. Okta is an internet cloud security firm which helps businesses keep their data safe and private. That company has been growing about 55% a year for the past 3 years, and investors have made more than 650% over that time frame. Alteryx is a company that helps other businesses analyze their data and better understand their customers. It's the best at what it does in this space. It's been growing more than 60% a year, and investors have made nearly 700% gains since 2015. RingCentral is a tech business that is revolutionizing the ways companies use telephones for customer service, conference calls, meetings, and more. It has been growing more than 34% a year, and investors have made about 700% in the past 3 years. Atlassian is a company that makes software to help employees collaborate online on various projects. In my company, we've used Atlassian and some of the other companies I've mentioned here. Anyone who's owned Atlassian over the past 4 years has made about 6 times their money. The list goes on and on. Odds are most Americans have never heard of any of these companies, but these companies are revolutionizing the way we use technology. They are growing incredibly fast, and they are making people rich. At the same time, though, they are eliminating thousands of jobs and are widening the wealth gap in America today. Unfortunately, there's nothing you or I can do about this trend, even if we wanted to. All we can do is make sure we're on the right side of it. And don't worry, you haven't missed out. The good news, there's a dozen or more of these fast-growing tech firms emerging every year. With all the incredible advances in 5G, data analytics, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, cryptocurrencies, virtual reality, financial technology called fintech, blockchain, the Internet of Things, and energy storage, it's 100% guaranteed that there will continually be massive opportunities every year for many years to come. There is no doubt in my mind, the next few years will be the greatest period ever to be a technology investor. There will be more disruption in the next 20 years than there has been in the previous 80 years combined. And with all that disruption comes incredible opportunity. I promise you, this is the most important money-making trend in the world today. And if you miss out, you're going to miss nearly all the biggest gains. And the longer you wait to get in on it, the less money you're going to make. Before you're going to fall behind. Let me show you just a few of the investments that are critical for you to learn about and get in on today. One of the biggest trends in the world today is retail automation. In other words, the process of automating how products you buy online get to your front door. This is Amazon's specialty, of course, but there are lots of other companies that are way more advanced than Amazon. They're actually transforming entire industries. They use an automated process involving software, robotics, and other logistical technologies to get products delivered directly to your home without much human involvement. And these companies are going to radically change the way we shop over the next few years. For example, there's a company that's a world leader in online-only grocery shopping. No, not the pay and pickup program you see at places like Whole Foods, Target, or your local grocery store. This is something radically different. The company has more than 60 technology patents already granted and applied for 100 more patents last year. They've built the most advanced, automated, robotic shopping system on the planet. Their technology can track your grocery order and get it ready for delivery with almost no human effort. The company's robotic warehouses look nothing like any grocery store you've ever seen. It's amazing, and it's the future for grocery shopping. And get this revolutionary tech company just signed a deal with the largest grocery store chain in the United States and the largest grocery store chain in the world. Over the next 2 to 3 years, they are going to revolutionize how groceries get to your home. The first of their 20 new high-tech grocery delivery warehouses will open soon in Ohio. The company already has more than 700,000 customers worldwide, and I project they will soon have 10 or 20 or even 100 times that amount. Hardly any regular investors know about this company today, but in a few years, it'll be a household name. Today, you can get in on the ground floor and make a fortune as this inevitable trend plays out. It's still very early. In the US, only about 10% of grocery shopping is done online. These numbers are going to double in the next year or so, then double again and again. Of course, this trend involves more than just groceries. Eventually, this company will transform all of retail shopping. It is already working with pet supply stores, home stores, and beauty and makeup retailers. Yes, this disruptive technology company is going to contribute to the widening wealth gap in America. But there's absolutely nothing you or I can do about this trend except to embrace it. It is inevitable. It is the future. And all you can do is to be on the right side or wrong side of this trend. The choice is up to you. Here's another investment you should take advantage of right now. It's no secret that one of the great innovations of our lifetimes is going to be self-driving cars and trucks. Sure, rolling out all these vehicles will take a few years. But remember, just like the cell phone example I told you about earlier, the experts always overestimate how long a new technology trend like this will take. And the simple truth is, the money to be made on this inevitable trend starts now. But don't just take my word for it. Jeff Bezos of Amazon just placed an order for 100,000 vans that will ultimately drive themselves. Waymo, Google's driverless car unit, just ordered 62,000 driverless minivans from Fiat Chrysler. The company, Aptiv, has just teamed up with Lyft to log 50,000 successful autonomous taxi rides in Las Vegas. BMW plans to have a self-driving car on the road by 2021. There are literally trillions of investment dollars pouring into this trend. But most people don't know that there's one, by far, best way to play it. You see, there's a technology company most Americans have never heard of, which has successfully logged more than 1 million miles of autonomous driving. And it has developed the platform standard that will be in more autonomous vehicles than any other. Already, this firm has partnered with nearly all the top car companies in the world, including BMW, Chevrolet, Ford, Honda, Jaguar, Toyota, Mercedes, Volvo, and Volkswagen, and the best technology companies in the world, like Microsoft, Nvidia, and Intel. The incredible thing about this company is that not only have few Americans heard of it, it's also one of the best investment bargains in the world. It's ridiculously cheap. You can buy this company today, hold it for years to come, and potentially make 10 times your money over the long term. This investment reminds me very much of another tech investment I made in cell phone technology many years back. At the time, two different cell phone network standards, GSM and CDMA, were fighting for supremacy. GSM was the clear frontrunner, and I recommended a company called Ericsson to take advantage of it. That recommendation soared as much as 5,000% in the years to come. Something very similar is happening today with autonomous driving platforms. Although few Americans know about it, you have a chance to get in early and make obscene profits in the years ahead. Again, yes, this new technology will definitely contribute to the growing wealth gap in America. Today, there are about 3.5 million truck drivers in America and millions of folks who drive cars for a living. Most people don't know that driving a truck is the most popular job in more than half of all US states, 29 states. But the reality is, in the years to come, more and more of these folks are going to lose their jobs. And again, there's nothing you can do or should try to do to stop this trend. It's inevitable. But you can certainly make sure your money is positioned properly. I've just written up all of the details of the two investments I just told you about, and I've put everything you need to know in a brand new special report. Let me show you how to get started and the important steps you must make now to get the biggest gains over the next few years and avoid the big losses. There are 3 simple steps you absolutely must take today to put yourself on the right side of this trend going forward. Here's what I strongly recommend. First, you need to make sure you don't own the companies that are using yesterday's technology to compete in today's world, or companies that are trying to hang on to an outdated business model, about to be hit hard by today's most disruptive firms. For example, if you own a traditional brick and mortar store like Bed Bath & Beyond, instead of the online retailer Wayfair, you are making a huge mistake. Look at this revenue chart of the past 5 years. If you own any of the traditional electric utility companies, instead of the best companies that are developing smart residential energy storage technologies, again, you're making a huge mistake and missing out on huge gains. Look at the sales growth of Southern California Edison, a utility where I live, compared to SolarEdge, the leading supplier of microinverters for residential solar systems. In every sector, there are new companies taking advantage of new technologies where investors are getting rich and completely disrupting the status quo. Here's a chart of the past 5 years of growth comparing traditional payment processors like Bank of America and Wells Fargo to the growth of the new technology disruptor in the same space, Square. It's just no contest. I'm sure you get the point. So, step number 1 is to purge your portfolio of the companies being disrupted by the new technology innovators. You simply can't afford to hold these stocks in your portfolio any longer. Today, there are so many ticking time bombs in so many people's portfolios because of bad business structures, heavy debt loads, and completely outdated business models that are being disrupted by fast-moving and creative technological startups. If you own doomed firms like these, you are all but guaranteed to miss out on the biggest gains of the years to come. This is why I've published a detailed research report that allows you to quickly and easily purge your portfolio of the doomed firms that are all but assured to underperform in the next few years, and even worse, could potentially go bankrupt. This report is called the Portfolio Purge. The first thing you'll see is a list of 25 very popular companies that millions of Americans own. Please make sure you do not own these companies now and do not buy them in the future, no matter how cheap they get. Second, I'll show you a simple 2-part test you should apply to every investment you make today and over the next few years. If any investment fails this 2-part test, you'd better think very carefully before investing in it. I don't know of another financial analyst in the business who has accurately predicted the collapse or fall in share price of as many companies as I have. My work on doomed companies was even cited in Barron's. Over the years, I've issued more than 70 very profitable short sell recommendations, accurately predicting the exact timing of collapsing share prices for companies like Ariba, fell 99% in a year after my prediction. Flextronics fell 71% in the 2 years after my prediction. Tell Labs fell 74% in the year after my prediction. Selectron fell 76% in the 2 years after my prediction. Providian fell 91% in the year after my prediction. Countrywide Financial fell 87% in the 2 years after my prediction. Whatever you do, make sure you sell America's doomed companies. And this brings me to step number 2 for capturing the biggest investment gains in the world over the next few years. Step number 2 is very straightforward. As we discussed, the really big and profitable technology disruptions always happen from the outside. Netflix wasn't invented by Blockbuster, and none of the television networks came up with the idea for YouTube. Not a single hotel chain had anything to do with Airbnb. To get the biggest gains going forward, you must make sure you own the fastest growing, most disruptive, and most profitable outsider tech companies available in the markets today. I mentioned earlier that I've just published a brand new report on the best tech investments you must make right now if you want to capture the biggest gains of the next year and beyond. This report could turn out to be the most important and profitable research of my career, and it's called the 1000% Portfolio. As I said earlier, there's not another analyst in this industry that I know of who has made as many 1000% winners as I've had in my career, more than 40, plus nearly 20 other recommendations that have returned more than 500%. To make 1000% gains today, you must learn how to take advantage of today's most important trend, how the law of accelerated returns in the technology sector is transforming our society. That's why I've assembled a fully allocated model portfolio of the most disruptive and fastest growing technology stocks in the world today. There will be roughly 8 companies in this portfolio overall. I'm going to show you 4 of them I want you to buy right away. Then we'll be building out the rest of this 1000% model portfolio.
I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you all for coming. Let me just do a recap quickly of what we did tonight. Finally, I get to release my phone so I can actually use it to go in the chat because, of course, you know, I've not been able to do anything in the chat because using the phone was the next thing that that caused me to be. All right, so that was it. That was some very important information, and you see the numbers are few tonight, but that is actually how it runs tonight. Now, one of the main reasons why the poor will remain poor and the rich will get richer is because the rich, they are focused on things that will help them to get better in life. Well, you know what the poor people do? The poor people shop and buy things that they don't need. They want to wear the most expensive clothing. They want to drive the most expensive car. They want to live the most expensive life while their budget suggests otherwise. I'm not saying that people should not enjoy life as much as possible. But while you're enjoying life, you're not investing wisely and your future is dark. And this is the reason why the gap between rich and poor is getting wider and wider and wider. Because while poor people party, you know what? You know the type of streams that people enjoy going to? Streams that are not educational. A lot of people go to streams that are not educational. I'm not sure if you notice the trend of my streams. My streams, I always try to make sure that someone leave learning something at the end of all of my streams. For me, it is critical and important for someone to walk away with a new idea, with a new motivation, with a new intention of making themselves into a better person. That is my, we don't take risk in investment. That's right, Phyllis. So I am saying today, we have to realize that the world is changing into a digital platform. And while the world is getting more digital and more technological, we have to jump on the technology. We can't be left behind, investing in a company that is going down. We can't be investing in a company that is outdated. We have to jump on the wagon. This is the time that we're allowed to be wagonists. When it comes on to wealth and riches and making your life better and be more prosperous, you have to jump on the wagon to help yourself to get to the next life. Now, As I said before, the world is changing into a digital world. And if you think that you're going to just have a taxi to a taxi company that is outdated, then you're going to suffer. What you want to do is to make sure that you're on or in the current data of the planning. Whatever is going on, you want to be updated to it. So, as I said before, Uber and Lyft has taken over the taxi industry. So the regular taxi company that was part, in the cities, are not making enough money or much money as what Uber and Lyft is making today, because that's what is happening now. Now, the stores, Amazon, and all these major stores is changing. So when there was manual labor with people doing this and doing that, there was a guy who was responsible for taking down the boxes off the shelves. There was a guy responsible for driving the forklift. There was a guy responsible, or a girl responsible for taking data and doing, the whatever, the secretaries, the president, the hardware, not hardware, the warehouse workers. There are not so much of them. We have machines taking over the jobs. So a forklift is being self-driven, yes, and there are robots in the stores taking over the jobs. Now, what we ought to realize is that the world is becoming a more online type of situation. So if you're not equipped to handling a computer, you better equip yourself to be computer literate. If you're not computer literate in these days, you're going to be left behind. Yes, I'm serious. If you're not computer literate, you better buy one computer right now and start learning how to use a computer. If you can't use your phone well, you better learn how to use your phone well. You got to learn how to go online and search for the things you want, because that is what the world is coming to. Everybody is now shopping online. So there's a time that is coming soon where no one will be walking into Macy's to buy their underwear. Nobody will be walking over to Victoria's Secret to get their sexy lingerie. Nobody will be walking to or driving to Walmart to get whatever they want. Nobody will be walking to Target to get whatever they want. Today's world is becoming the type of world where people will jump on their phone. Everything you're saying is the Bible last chapter, Revelation. Yes, everything I'm saying is in Revelation. Thank you, nothing edited. You know the Bible. So we can always talk, nothing editing, you know the Bible as well. And so we have Casnell Comedy, thank you for coming in. Susie, Unstoppable, thank you for coming in. For those who came in, and you can share the stream. For those who, Patrick Jane Forum is in here. He knows what I'm talking about as well. I try to be, Anyway, let's continue what we're saying. So as I was saying before, the world is coming to be a more digital world. It's a more sophisticated world than we were raised to see. Things and time changed, and technology has increased. The digital platform has now expanded. I can't hear anything. Something is wrong with your device, Jen. Everybody's hearing. I can turn my phone up and realize that I'm hearing. All right, look at this. Hearing. I can turn my phone up and realize that that's what is coming from my phone, loud and clear. So if you're not hearing, hold on. Long time ago in Jamaica, when you're building a house, it was all-man labor, and it takes forever to finish. Now a house put up within a month, and 3-bedroom house is done. Did you say a month? Where is you living? A house today is put up in a week. In America, well, I think you're in America. Yes, you're in America. Depends on the company that you're using, and depending on the amount of money that you have to build your house, a house is done in 1 week. It's no longer a month and 3 months and 3 months and 4 months and 5 months. Even in Jamaica. Even in Jamaica right now, if you have the money, and even if you're using manual labor, If you have the right amount of money, your house can be done in 2 weeks. Why Baltimore avoiding me? Well, Susie, you don't have to worry. If you're not getting a feedback from Baltimore, you've not been avoided. I checked Baltimore and your data is in there. Baltimore knows that you were here the last time. Baltimore also knows that you're here now. So even if, but I only hear TR really. Hold on. Baltimore, but I only hear TR really. Guys, thank you today. It has been a very slow stream. We're going to end this stream in approximately 1 hour, so we have just about 5 minutes to go. Thank you for 19 likes. I want him not answering me. I don't know what is happening. We have 19 likes. I can hear now. Hello, Royal Family. Thank you for coming in, Jen the Goat. Can we get to 20 likes? 20 likes, I would be happy tonight. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the Royal Family asking for 20 likes? You know, in the TR show, I would be closing in on 200 likes right now in the first 1 hour of the show, but we just arrived at 55 minutes, 56 minutes, which the stream will be going on for the next 4 minutes. But I just want to say, guys, you need to pay attention to your surrounding and what is going on in our world today, else you're going to die poor and suffering. You know, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer, but people need to pay attention. Poor people is more into partying and, into non-educational stuff. Them watch TV, play a game all day, do everything that will not benefit them in the long run. You need to get yourself educated and get yourself equipped so you can survive when the world change. Because there's no joke that the world is changing. Thank you for the information, but I do invest in Bitcoin. Okay, all right, no problem in that. It doesn't matter what you invest in. It doesn't matter what you invest in. If you have any form of wise investments going on, that is always all well and good. It's fine to do that. We're just saying that the gap between the wealthy and the poor is getting larger and larger because the poor are getting more stupid. They spend their time doing the wrong things, and so they're going to suffer more, while the rich is focused on keeping the wealth within the parameters of the wealthy people. The poor are fighting each other and trying to make their way in things that are not really working. So, those are things that we need to take into consideration. Sandy K, you come in when it is late. This stream is scheduled to finish in approximately 1 hour. I will not be streaming a minute over 1 hour. So, unlike the TR show, where I stream, and even when I say I'm going to end the stream, I keep going and I keep going because of this or because of that, because, I'm helping somebody or I'm doing this. In this stream, I will not be spending the entire night. As soon as the clock strike 1 hour, I will be ending the stream. So I want to say before we go, let me just quickly thank those who came out tonight and share the stream. I want to say it was a privilege to have all of you here tonight. Thank you, Sandy K, for coming in at the end. Glad to hear Greg Manley, and I am going good as well. Thanks. All right, so I want to welcome Susie Unstoppable. Sean does graphics. Mia 2000. We also have Jen the Goat, Greg Manley, Sandy K, SF Rose, Phyllis Brown, Indestructible, Castnell Comedy. Who else did we have? We have Patrick Jane Forum, and we have T Studio X, Nothing Edited, and I think that is Collectorholic. And I think that sums up the 16 people who was present tonight. Of course, the TR show is present tonight, and I want to say thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. So, guys, now that we have arrived at the 59-minute mark, we're just 50 seconds away from the end of this stream. I want to say thank you for all those who tune in tonight to make this stream a successful stream. I still call it a successful stream, even though we had only 16 people in total. No, 17. Well, 21. We had 21 people in total being a part of this stream tonight. I want to say thank you so much for being here. I am looking Guys, I am looking and I am watching the people who support the TR News especially, because I tell you, the TR News have a very strong chance of accelerating past the TR show. And I'm going to remember those people who came here to support in the show. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you and good night. Have a good night.